Alrighty. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hot Topic Tuesday. Trish and I here today to October 1st. So we are kind of transitioning out of all things on brain health and we're moving into hormone health, specifically for females this month. But all things hormone health. And today's topic is top 6 strategies for optimizing hormones. And Trish and I we hear this day in and day out, just ever since menopause or perimenopause, or it seems like my hormones just aren't right. Um, we hear it day in and day out. So we wanted to touch on, the top 6 things that you can actually do, simple things that we can do to optimize our hormones and kind of, get those back in balance and feel better, have more energy, and everything in between. So with that being said, number one, I will start off. The very first one is going to be to prioritize your gut health. Um, if y'all have listened to any of our live topics before, then you know that there is a significant connection to our gut and our hormones. So prioritizing our gut health. The gut's responsible for the absorption of nutrients, and it plays a crucial role in hormone metabolism and detoxification. Um, some actionable tips that you can do include fiber-rich foods to support digestion and the overall microbiome. Adding in fermented foods like sauerkraut and kefir will increase the beneficial bacteria within the gut. Simple things: consider a probiotic supplement for extra support. Um, I usually, if I have a client that says that things just aren't right within the gut, sometimes just adding a probiotic can kind of help balance things out, and adding in more plants. Sometimes just those two actionable things can make a big difference. Healthy gut. A healthy gut helps the body metabolize estrogen, which preventing it helps the body metabolize estrogen, which in turn prevents imbalances like estrogen dominance, which is actually very, very common. The second thing is going to be balancing blood sugar levels. We actually touched on all things blood sugar balance. Gosh, wasn't it August? I think it was August.
Few months ago, yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it was
yeah,
August.
August. Yep.
Yes, it seemed like it was just a couple weeks ago. Time flies. So the saying of the days are long, but yet the weeks and months fly by.
Yes.
So true. But the number 2 is balancing blood sugar levels. Blood sugar imbalances can lead to insulin resistance, which in turn affects cortisol and sex hormone production, especially estrogen and progesterone. Some actionable tips that we can do: eat protein and healthy fats with every meal to prevent blood sugar spikes, limit processed sugars and refined carbs, and include fiber to slow down digestion and keep blood sugar stable. And one of the tips that we had gave a couple months ago was never eat naked carbs. So always pair it with a protein. So protein, carbs, or protein, fat, and carbs. So the connection to hormones: stable blood sugar supports optimal insulin levels, which allows the ovaries to produce adequate estrogen and progesterone. Keeping blood sugar balanced is super, super important. Number 3, surprisingly, this probably actually should probably be number 1, I think, rather than number 3, but manage stress and cortisol. Chronic stress elevates cortisol levels, which can interfere with sex hormones, reduce progesterone, and increase estrogen dominance. Specifically, when cortisol is chronically elevated, that slows a lot of the other systems within the body. Specifically, like in this case, it's going to slow the sex hormone production. Um, Actionable tips that we can do are incorporate daily stress relieving practices like meditation. That's how I'm feeling today.
Uh-huh.
Meditation, yoga, and deep breathing. Prioritizing good sleep hygiene is so, so important, and aiming for 7 to 9 hours of restful sleep. Another thing that we can do is try adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha or rhodiola to support adrenal function. Now, the connection to hormones: lowering cortisol helps balance other hormones like DHEA, estrogen, and progesterone. So just, being, Trish and I have talked about this over and over again in regards to the stress balance, but we're never going to have a life without stress. It's just a matter of how are we perceiving the stress? How are we properly managing the stress? So, self-care, having those, stress relieving practices, in line, like the meditation or, the yoga, deep breathing exercise, just anything, just self-care, just in general can make a big impact, as well as the sleep. Sleep is probably going to be like super, super top on the list. And so those are the first three, and then Trisha's going to take over the second three.
All right. So, number four, we have nourish with healthy fats. So, this matters greatly because hormones are actually made from cholesterol. So, this is kind of a fun fact. Like, we, like to compare labs and stuff to more the optimal functional ranges over the Western medicine. And the optimal functional ranges for cholesterol actually are a little bit higher than you'll see in Western medicine. And, this in part is due to like us needing a lot of these cholesterols to make hormones. So, for example, your body might take six cholesterols and it breaks off those and forms, with some other enzymes and things to make estrogen or to make testosterone. So healthy fats are definitely essential for hormone production. All right, and we haven't gone on a tangent in a while, and this isn't one, but April, oh, remember 2 companies ago how low that people's fats would go sometimes? And oh my gosh, yeah,
Yes, and I have to say, and just so everyone out there watching, I'm in a couple of Facebook groups, and I'll see people posting a lot of, you know, people that are trying to lose weight, and they'll post their macros or their calorie targets or whatever. And I kind of cringe a little bit whenever I see how low the fats are. But as a general rule, I used to like, I typically like to recommend at least zero point 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. So, for example, if you weigh 200 pounds, aim for 100 grams of fat. You can get away with less for a short period of time, but a very short period of time. I would not do that longer than, say, 3, 4 months. But then you need to cycle back in fats a little bit higher, specifically for this, reason.
Yes, absolutely. And, it was one of those things that we saw more in the macro only energy balance world, because obviously to cut calories, fat has 9 grams. 9 calories per gram, where carbohydrates and protein only have 4. So it was that trick of, coaches to cut calories is to cut a crud load of fats. But we've definitely realized that's not healthy for the body and not healthy for hormones. So actionable tips to get some good healthy fats in your day include sources like avocados, olive oil, nuts, seeds, fatty fish, which is also rich in omega-3s. And we talk a ton about fatty fish and omega-3s and helping inflammation in the body and a host of other things. Avoid processed and trans fat. This actually can be disruptive to hormone production, where the healthy fats are good for that. And this is, definitely connected to hormones because they support the production and kind of making of progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. So
And I
number,
just want, yeah,
Mhm.
I just want to add one thing, the topic of, and I know we're touching on female hormones this month,
Mhm.
but one of the top things, and I've been kind of harping at Tom about this, one of the top things that can destroy the testosterone levels specifically in a male is the processed and the trans fats, like the bad fats, the hydrogenated fats, the trans fats. Those are the number one things that can destroy men's testosterone levels. So when you start reaching that, 40 plus, aging up, and you start feeling tired, and, libido's down, energy, whatever, it's very common for testosterone to start decreasing. So be
Mhm.
mindful of those bad fats and
And
start.
testosterone is cardioprotective for men. So think that's like a whole feedback loop too. If you're also having, heart unhealthy fats in your trans fats and processed foods, that in turn can be lowering testosterone, which is taking away some of that like cardioprotective properties, then you're probably not in a good position at all. All right, so number 5, detoxing the liver. So why does this matter? We talk a ton about this. We've even done a whole month and a challenge based around kind of detoxification. properties. The liver is key to detoxifying excess hormones, especially estrogen. So if you have an estrogen dominance problem or have symptoms of that, suspect that, then you could go back to, how's my gut and detoxification systems looking? And processing toxins that can interfere with hormone balance. So, what are some things we can do for this? We can include cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, kale. These actually help support estrogen detoxification, also with plenty of water. Hydration is another thing that is important in everything. You can consider some liver supporting supplements. Milk thistles, really, really good for this. Dandelion root. I am not even a huge tea drinker, but dandelion root tea is something I have on hand all the time. I may not be having it all the time, but it's something that is really easy to kind of drink and does help support that detoxification.
I actually bought milk thistle seeds that you can like munch on. You can like crunch them and eat them.
Oh,
They,
that's
they
fun.
they're not bad. They don't like really like someone who is like a snacker, who like some people just like a snack. It's kind of a neat little snack. It's not, it's not bad. It doesn't really have like a whole lot of taste to it, but but
Yeah.
you can actually buy milk thistle seeds. I've got like a pound of them in my
Add
pantry in the
to like a
fridge.
smoothie too, like I add my chia seeds or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that could be something too. So, a healthy liver ensures that hormones are broken down and detoxified properly, which is going to help prevent those imbalances that we don't want. And that's usually, and we'll get more into this with like the estrogen dominance. It's really just an imbalance. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have too much sometimes, just like not balanced properly. So, number six is to exercise smart. Why does this matter? Exercise can improve insulin sensitivity. We talked a lot about that in our blood sugar regulation little month. It can help lower cortisol and it also helps boost your mood. So we have these wonderful serotonin and dopamine hormones that help boost our mood, and exercise does have a direct impact on supporting those. So incorporating a balance of resistance training, we like love, 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 love strength training and would say that's probably top priority. And then, just things like getting out there and walking, yoga would be great for stress balance, meditation purposes, also, flexibility and stretching my hip flexors that I've been just sitting here getting tight all day. Um, but like walking, like rowing, biking, swimming, like all those, lower intensity exercises are also great too. Um, Avoid excessive, like some hit training is good, like finishers. We talk a lot about like getting a nice little like hit finisher at the end of your workout, but the 45-minute strict boot camp interval classes, I feel like those are kind of going out of popularity anyways, but we have seen a lot of women run into issues when that is their only form of exercise and they're trying to do it like 6 days a week. And they're also usually not eating to support that level of workout too. It's a whole nother topic, but so kind of limit those high intensity, those type of workouts, not like a hit finisher or anything, but like your straight boot camp classes all of the time. Those can actually elevate cortisol, especially if you're not eating in a supportive way, and that can be disruptive to the hormones. Strength training supports muscle mass, which is awesome because that does help your insulin sensitivity, blood sugar control. And the connection to hormones is that regular exercise helps maintain a healthy balance of insulin, cortisol, and sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone. And, that's all good stuff that we want so it doesn't get too crazy out of balance. So that is all that we have. Those are six. I think again, it's all very connected to stuff we've talked about before. Like nothing we really talk about as far as action things are unreasonable or anything you can't just add in like right away. But those are really the top six, like pretty simple things that you can start doing right away for that.
Agree. And and I was chatting with someone earlier today in regards to along these lines of, incorporating these, like you said, Trish, these are things that, aren't crazy that you can start incorporating in your daily, but keep in mind that, it takes consistency and it will take a little bit of time, to yield and to notice a difference. You should start noticing a difference, almost right away with some of the things, but to truly, balance your hormones depending on how imbalanced they are, it can take consistency and time, so if you've been dealing with, some pretty gnarly symptoms, say for a couple of years, don't expect to, just all feel, magical within 2 weeks.
Amazing.
It doesn't
Yeah.
work like that.
Especially because these are such simple things. Like it's so dumb almost that they are simple and you can do them all the time, but they're the first things that we want to like skip or overlook and do something bigger. Like
But and I think it's
when
and I
we
think
just
it's because
yeah,
exactly, I think it's because they're so simple, that they're just often overlooked, and we, kind of want to go for the more in-depth, the harder thing, because we
yeah.
think, oh, it must, like it must take something,
It must
difficult.
be bigger than this. And it might be.
Exactly.
But most of the
Exactly.
time, even if you do find this amazing protocol or this amazing system, you still have to be doing these things. Like that's not going to help you unless you're doing the basics anyways.
Agree. With that being said, we hope this was helpful, and we will see y'all next week as we continue on our month of hormones for October. Have a great week.